Old Glory coming along. When I cut the windshield, I put it right here. I just lay it across here. I use a Dremel tool, and I just this is just a regular cutoff wheel. They actually make one made to cut plexiglass with. Let's see. Yeah, I got it over here. I was too lazy to put it on. It doesn't make much difference, but they make one like this. This is actually made for cutting plexiglass. And it's just to kind of keep it cooler. You see, it's got the places, a lot of holes to let the plastic get out as you're cutting it. And it's got like a diamond edge bit on it. So you can use one of those if you want. I usually do, but essentially I was just too lazy to change it out. And it doesn't really make much difference if you're just cutting a little bit. So I'm gonna show you what I did. This won't be very long, but we talked about how I did that. I came across here and I marked it. I'm gonna take this off in just a minute, and I'm gonna actually show you where I cut it and how it sits on here after I cut it. I just essentially cut it here and kind of across this top part here. Before I cut it, I pushed the windshield in. I put the front on that mark. Like I say, it was, so you see this front one's 1.5 inches, and it really was another 1.5 inches. And if you get it, it's just, you see it's real close. A little bitty gap there, but we're gonna put some silicone in here. Plus you're gonna have the two-sided tape that we're gonna wrap around the bottom of this when we install it for the last time. But what I did basically is I shoved it back up in here, and I have put all the clicos in all the holes except these last two again. In all the holes. Go ahead and drill, after you've drilled your number 40 holes down through here, 43s on the last two for some reason, 40s down through here, and put your clicos in. And then you're gonna drill out with a number 22 bit or 3/16 if you use a step drill. But a number 22 will work. Just widen the holes out in the liner only, not in the boot cowl. We're going to do that later with the number G. But anyway, widen these out so you've got a little wiggle room. Widen them out to a 22. That way when you go to move it around a little bit, you got a little bit of room to go in and hit your little hole there. It'll actually be easier later after we get the rib nuts in place. It's even a bigger reception area so you can get it at the screw in there. So anyway, I'm just making really sure that all my holes, I got one that didn't line up. I'm going to line up. I'm going to check it here in just a second, make sure everything's cool there. But I'll make sure all the rest of my clicos go in my holes okay. You can see here I've got excess over here. I'm not going to mark this side yet, and the reason I'm not is because I've got to go up here, and you can see here the way it was fitted. This side is going to be okay, but that side you can see it's sitting up on there. I'm going to have to cut that, trim the edge a little bit out there just so it'll go down over the lift ring and sit down. And then I'm going to put a stick across here to the other wing. That way I'll give a straight line across from wingtip to wingtip, and then I can bring this up to where it just touches the stick and pushes it up even a little bit more. Once I do that, I'll clamp it in place up on the top here to hold it in place. We're going to later put rib nuts in and drill these holes out up here also. You can see when I put the windshield in, I did go ahead and got the sides in place, and I went ahead and just clamped the windshield on here to hold it down. It'll kind of want to stick up if you don't, so that holds it down while you're fitting it, making sure that everything lines up good. Same thing on the other side. And it was pretty much an even trim. Both sides I had to trim just a hair, and I just kind of gradually sloped it from here. It was the biggest meat of the cut was about right here, and then it came down to no cut on the side. So I just had to kind of, both sides, you just have to kind of cut this corner off right here so it'll go down in there. And you can see it's a beautiful fit all the way around there. Like I said, with a little bit of a gap you can see up here. I don't think there's any way you can get this gap out. I've always had a little small gap right there. And the reason is you just can't, cutting it off more here is not going to let it go more this way. It'll just take it down if you do that. So I think that I'm going to call that good. I'm going to take these clicos off here in a minute, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you. I'm not going to touch anything other than to take the liner off. I'm going to show you how the windshield ended up lining up around the holes so you can get a sight picture of how far away from your holes you need to be to make it work right. I'm gonna cut that out so I can drop that to the right height, and then I'm gonna put it back up there, and then come back and mark my sides where I need to trim the sides. Okay, so that'll be the next video. Sorry, I'm too lazy to edit these things together. I used to own a video production company, used to have a television show on ESPN, big edit suites and everything else. I'm sick of that stuff, so now it's just easy. Turn the camera on and roll. So I'll be back.